Very good evening, everyone. I am Sudhir Kumar. Welcomes you on another Getty Facebook Live session today. Today we have a guest who is very versatile. She is an educationist and a certified NLP practitioner and an image consultant. And she is also a trained educator for mental well-being of the students with emotional needs. Today she is with us to discuss about the importance of effective communication. See, creating dialogues between students can be challenging yet fundamental part of teaching. Effective communication can help to build a foster a safer learning environment where a student can thrive, prosper, and learn. You will learn how to communicate effectively with students, parents, co-teachers to create a strong classroom environment of open communication. Using the techniques of today's session, you will become a strong communicator who can effectively manage relationships with parents, teachers, students, and colleagues. So please join our hands together to welcome Mrs. Harleen Chadda. Good evening, ma'am. Please, most welcome.
Thank you, Sudhir. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot for having me over again for the show. Means a lot. Thank you.
So, ma'am, we often talk about communication, and it is a common, misleading information in the society that whenever we talk about communication, they often leads to English communication. So, what exactly is communication, and what is the purpose of communication? And there are, if there are certain level of communications, or what it is exactly.
Okay, Sudhir, when we talk about communication, it is not only about the language that we talk about. So when we do the survey of that National Assessment of Employees, we get to know that communication skill is one of the most desired traits that even the employers look for. So it is, in case we have a scale of 1 to 5, so it is the most highly rated level of communication. 4.7 is communication. And beyond this comes honesty, integrity, and all the other life values, the teamwork, adaptability, all those other skills fall down. So when we talk about communication, basically it is sharing of information. Now that sharing of information in the, the broader sense of the word would mean exchange of thoughts, ideas, emotions. And we as social human beings, we rely on different aspects. We rely on the spoken words, we rely on the non-verbal signs and symbols to communicate whatever message that we want to convey to the others. Everything around us is, it's perpetually communicating. The way we nod, the way we talk, our dressing sense. Rather, in fact, I would say, the clock ticking also communicates. The wind chimes communicate. The musicians, they articulate through the rhythmic notes. The painter, for that matter, communicates through his brushes. The poet through his verse. The potter communicates through his wheel. And similarly, when you're gifting somebody or you're complimenting somebody, in that way also you are communicating to the other person.
This is actually very wonderful insight. Means, yes, even I have never thought about that. Even the clock does not say anything, but it communicates with us. So thank you for putting light onto this. So means how communication is different from communication.
So when we talk about effective communication, whatever is the intended message that you want to convey, it should be conveyed. So it's easier to understand it through an acronym, I would say. For me, in case I talk about, I'm not an expert on this particular acronym, but whatever is my understanding of the whole thing, I'll tell you, for me, effective communication, the E would stand for enhancing the morale. The words being such a judicious resource, so we need to use it judiciously, whichever way and whatever message that we are trying to convey. Then F is for factual. So it should be very, very concrete. You should have your facts in place. You cannot randomly call up somebody, write a text to somebody without knowing your facts and without knowing what it exactly is all about. Then is, of course, feedback in the sense that in case you're conveying a message to somebody, is the intended message same as what is being tried to convey? So that feedback again is very, very important. Any communication for that matter, it should prosper those eternal bonds. Without a connect, without a bonding, I don't think so communication can ever work. So then we talk about the clarity of the thoughts, the clarity of ideas. resolution, conflict resolution, whatever is the connection that is being made. Again, T for me would stand for trust building. If you're not honest in your conversation, if there's no integrity, by the end of the day, you will not be able to convey the desired message that you're wanting to convey. Then when I talk about I, it has to be interpreted in the same way you intend conveying it to the other person. The whole purpose of communication gets defeated if there's something that what I want to convey and the understanding, so that many a slip between a cup and a lip, that kind of situation should not arise. If I want to interpret something, it should be interpreted in the way that I intend it to be interpreted. Then, of course, if you're talking to somebody, at least whatever little it's possible, there should be a value addition. In any conversation, if you're not empathetic towards, if you're not understanding of what the other person is wanting, if you cannot understand the need of the other person, and if it's not an inclusive conversation, I think the communication is not effective.
So, ma'am, is it always possible to convey the message, with the same intent to masses? Because the level of understanding would be different from person to person. So how can one ensure that the message is intended in a certain manner that has to be conveyed in the same thing? So how he can ensure that?
So absolutely, Sudhir, I completely agree with what you're saying. Most of the conflicts, that they happen because whatever is intended and whatever is interpreted is not in harmony.
Yes.
So seek first to understand and then be understood. You should know the audience that you're talking about. It cannot happen that you are not aware of your audience and at the same time you're trying to speak. So that is the time when you need to know the purpose and the objective of your conversation. So whatever message that you're trying to convey, you need, whenever you're trying to convey, you are either trying to convey to inform somebody, to educate somebody, for that matter, to entertain somebody, to control somebody, or at the same time to instruct somebody. So It might even mean that you're conveying to persuade somebody. So whatever is your audience, whatever is your intent, one, you have to be very, very clear and concise about it. Once that clarification is with you, the intended meaning definitely will reach the desired audience.
Excellent point. Yes, I think that this is a nice method, because first we need to understand the audience or the person in front of us, that what actually they need, and then we have to contemplate our message in the similar manner. So in the school, as you are a school teacher as well, and you have a huge chunk of students. So whenever you want to give feedback, so you may find many of the students who do not take that feedback as it is intended towards. So how you would, what suggestion you would like to give the fellow teachers who are watching this video, and how they would ensure that the feedback or the suggestion which they are providing is going in the same way they are intending it?
So even when you are talking to any audience, be it children, be it anybody, be it your parents, all these interpersonal skills that we are doing, one, you need to give the other person his or her due. So I think the most simple rule is, whenever you're doing something, whenever you're communicating to somebody, give it your 100%. Don't multitask. You need to be there in the moment. You need to prioritize that. You need to give the other person his or her due, understand the level of his understanding or her understanding for that matter, and then convey whatever you're trying to convey. Children, that way they can read through you. In case they are a priority with you, they will absolutely reciprocate to you in that particular manner. And when you're communicating with the children, I think it's very important that you have those open-ended questions.
Right.
The tendency of the individuals is, in case the question is complicated. Now, suppose if I ask you, is this session interesting? So the tendency of a normal individual is that you pick up on the last word or the most prominent word in the sentence. So that is the time when frame your questions, which are very, very easy and simple. You can, in the other words, you can ask your student, how was the experience? What is it that you've learned? Did you like it? What is it? So when you are framing your questions in a very simple language, that is a time when you get very elaborate answers from the children. Again, one needs to know and understand, we are not walking encyclopedias. To err is human. We are there. We might make mistakes. So whenever there's something that we don't know, in case a child has a doubt, in case the child has some issues, we can always tell the child, it's fine. I don't know, beta. I'll get back to you. So you really need to engage your audience, your experience. I completely agree is a best teacher. But at the same time, there might be situations that you're not prepared for. So think about it before you reply to them. Filter all the irrelevant details. The children do not have time for any irrelevant details, So whatever is pertinent, talk to them in that particular manner, engage them wherever. And at the same time, you can filter all those irrelevant details which the children do not want. Once you've established the need, that why you are communicating, what is the essence, what is the background of this communication, what is the desired result that you want from this? Believe you me, your children will listen to you. Or for that matter, anybody, the interpersonal skills, whomever you are communicating with, they will listen to you in a way.
So in this point, I have noticed one more interesting thing, that integrity or the honesty in the conversation also matters in order to put a lot of gravity in your message. So what do you think about the importance of integrity or honesty in that?
See, anybody whom you're conveying, whatever is your message, people nowadays or people otherwise also very, very sound. Mm-hmm. They exactly know, what is the fact. You cannot, even if you want, you cannot disguise a fact for a long. And at the same time, as I say, you're not an encyclopedia, so you're not supposed and expected to know each and everything.
Right.
So when you are speaking to them, when you're giving them a feedback, there's a very thin line between keeping them motivated and at the same time trying to convey them, okay, as a critic, telling them this is what needs to be done. Because all these children, they have immense potential. And once given an option, they'll be able to manage and they'll maneuver their way through. So whenever we are communicating, we need to keep in mind, those 7 C's of communication. So that correctness with which you communicate to them, the clarity of thoughts and ideas that you have, so that, you come across as somebody very, very honest and who means business. And at the same time, who's conveying what is desired to be conveyed. So here you're not picking up on a child. Here you are giving an honest feedback. So keep it as concise as possible because the children's attention span is not very high. So again, you have to be very considerate. It cannot happen, that the child of mine, for that matter, who's not prepared to listen, and I'm there with a moral lecture for him. No, it'll not work.
Right.
I need to know, what is the background of it. And at the same time, I need to maintain my courtesy while I'm talking to him. Even if it is a child, even if it's a teacher, even if it is anybody whom I'm interacting with, my basic courtesy has to be in place.
So while communicating, sometimes even the non-verbal cues also plays a very important role. And even your the tone of the voice or the intonation while we are talking, that also plays the important role. So and many people doesn't know that. So due to that, they actually somehow people the front party, they somehow misinterpret their message. So what do you want to teach about that, or what do you want to tell us about that?
So Sudhir, for that particular thing, I would like to quote about Albert Merben for his publication on relative importance of verbal and non-verbal messages. So he has this rule, which is a 7-38-55 rule. So now this 7-38-55 rule, it conveys that, the words only represent, this is when we are talking about a face-to-face conversation. So the words only represent 7% of the human communication. Remaining, your feelings, attitude, tone of voice, all these, they account for 38%. And the remaining 55% comes from all the non-verbal clues. The body language, how we convey, the emotions, how fidgetive we are, the face expressions, the tone. So all these non-verbal clues, they account for almost about 55% of the whole thing. So one has to be very, very mindful. So it's only 7%, which is the spoken words. Remaining 93% is all your body language, non-verbal clues, and all about that, your feeling, attitudes, emotions, whatever you call it.
That's a very interesting point, that that most of the part of the non-verbal attribute actually plays a very important role, and would like to tell our students and the teachers who are viewing this that this actually plays a very vital role while communicating with your students. That your body language, your posture, and the way you are communicating with them plays a very crucial role rather than just contemplating or playing with the words. So, ma'am, just want to know that how one can improve their communication skill. If I'm talking again, I'm communication skill means as perceived as English communication, not only English but normal communication skill. How one can improve and how to make it more effective on day-to-day basis.
On day-to-day basis, what I'm trying to say is that whatever you need to convey, whatever is the desired intention behind conveying, we need to be very, very clear and concise about it. So when we are talking to anybody, we should avoid repetition for that matter, because, it is very condescending to be out, and it's outright boring if we keep repeating certain things. And similarly, we need to refine our voice when we are talking to people, the speaking style, what needs to be conveyed, the pitch, the voice, the intonation. We have to be very, very mindful of the pauses that we take, So communication skills is something like, in case this is a bridge between the confusion and the clarity. So in case we want to build this bridge, in case we want to walk through this bridge and form a connection, we need to be very mindful of what we are trying to convey to the other person.
So the things which you have mentioned, like the pitch, the tone of the voice, and not repeating the words or the messages on regular basis. So can you tell us any simple exercises so that one can follow and start from now onwards to start improving on these things? Are there any ways, just like you have mentioned that 7:38:55 rule? So now this actually put people to think about it. Okay, that actually plays a very vital role, and that's a major chunk of the major percentage which we need to focus upon. So similarly, any small exercises which one can do on regular basis to improve on certain skills.
So there are ample of exercises, as kids we've all been doing. So right from reading aloud, the voice intonation, and at the same time doing those tongue twisters. They are very, very fruitful when it comes to improving and enhancing the clarity of your voice. Simple little exercises like when you talk, what we need to do is we need to keep our chin parallel to the ground. The moment we put our chin a little lower, the voice doesn't reach at a maximum distance. All those simple little tips, if you keep in mind, it becomes much easier for a child to understand that. And at the same time, it gives us that clarity of speech. Pronunciations, vowel practices, voice and accent, all these little trainings can be done to enhance the clarity of speech.
And clarity of speech and enhancing the vocabulary on regular basis. I think that also plays an important role.
Any language for that matter, the alphabets, the vocabulary, they lay the foundation of what we communicate. True. Once we have enough knowledge, it becomes much easier to convey the desired message.
Absolutely right, ma'am. So, can you repeat that 7 C's of communication once again, please, as one of our viewers is asking in the comment section, so they just might want to write it down.
Okay, so the 7 C's of communication, the first one, that we talk about, it's the correctness. It has to be very, very authenticated account of what it is. Second C of communication is the clarity. Whatever is being conveyed, it should be absolutely clear. Third is, it should be concise. The moment it goes overboard, it becomes boring for anybody. Then is the completeness of the whole thing. It needs to be absolutely complete in whichever way. So whatever questions, the why questions, why, when, what, where, how we need to do, all those things, need to be looked into to be answered so that it's complete and we know it's absolutely complete. Then we need consideration is another C of communication. Whom we are trying to convey and what is it that we are trying to convey. Apart from that is concrete. And last but not the least, equally important, this is the courtesy. So while we are talking about all this, the main, I think where we go wrong in communication is we are not good listeners. This is again, apart from the 7 C's, what I would want to highlight is the listening skills in the children, which really needs to be over a period of time, they need to enhance their listening skills.
So don't you think that listening is not only the problem with the kids only, it's problem with our adults, means even
Absolutely.
me, even any other adult, they don't want to listen.
Absolutely. I completely agree with what you're saying. Surprisingly, most of us, we feel listening is not, trying to gain something. It is about waiting for a turn to speak. So for most of us, it is not what the other person is trying to say, what we are trying to gain. We are at that point in time contemplating about things, what we need to say when it terms comes. We don't realize that while listening to others, we are providing somebody a chance to share his or her opinion. Believe you me, anybody whom you interact with, every individual, we need to assume that every conversation that we are having, every individual has something to teach. We can learn something or the other from every individual that talks. So that is the time that we need to, build that emotional intimacy wherein we can talk and we are a good listener, one of the most basic skills. At the same time, we need to show empathy that, okay, fine. So I'm not saying when somebody is talking to you, keep nodding, but at the same time, being there at the moment, trying to listen, differentiating between hearing and listening and knowing that particular difference, that is something that's really going to help, And being able to, when I talk about listening, it is being able to talk freely without the fear of being judging, without the fear of being judged, is one of the most effective ways wherein, one can actually let go of the baggage that they have. So certain tips in case, tips in case I have to give you about listening, I would say, whenever you are trying to listen to somebody, please give it a patient hearing, be a sounding board for a while. Don't be intrusive, unnecessarily do not interrupt. Let the other person, let off the steam that the other person have. So keep them going until whatever they want to convey, it is there. So when they're communicating to you, it is about them and it is not about you. And whenever somebody is saying, please, most of us, we play the role of that armchair psychologist, wherein we keep saying and interpreting, or we keep conveying, I understand what you're saying. The moment somebody tries to converse with me, we generally, most of us have that urge, say, oh yeah, of course it happened with me as well. When this happened, this was the consequence. So that is the time when we need to refrain ourselves from all these. Listening is one of the most integral skills as far as communication is concerned.
And the most important point which you have mentioned is that listening without judging. This is a very rare thing which we find these days. And that is the reason I think that we have many psychologists and psychiatrists have in place. Earlier, we do not have that much.
Absolutely. We should listen without interrupting. Unsolicited advice is not required at that point in time. So, right. And we should actually remember that they may not be divulging most of the secrets when they are conversing with you. So you need to keep your opinions to yourself. So that is a time one just needs a listening ear. So listening, again, very, very important and very integral to a communication. So when you listen, when you can listen well, that is a time, you can actually reflect the understanding. And that is a time that, you can understand what is the intent of what is being said. You can absorb more. You can understand the hidden meaning behind the conversation.
Very true, ma'am. And even I have read somewhere that even if two people fall on the ground with the same intensity and they get wounded at the same place, but the size of the wound would not be same.
Absolutely.
Right.
No two people travel the same. Everybody is different in their own way.
Right. So we need to listen to them without judging and without even disclosing their secrets even afterwards. That is also an important thing. Because if someone is opening up their thoughts in front of you, so it's your duty to keep those things only within your circle or within your mind. You should not take it out somewhere, because somehow that again void the integrity which has been establishing between the two individuals.
Absolutely. No one is obligated to follow your recommendations.
Right. So thank you so much, ma'am, for giving us such wonderful ideas and thoughts, and we have had a nice discussion. And definitely those 7 C's, like correctness, clarity, conciseness, completeness, consideration, concrete, and courtesy. So these 7 points we have learned today, and these are some effective points which we keep in mind on daily basis. Then we can definitely uh, work on our, making our communication in a better manner. And one more thing, one more comment we have got from someone is how to interact effectively when online classes are going on.
That is one of the biggest challenges, this COVID-19 time, it has caught us unawares. But believe you me, if you plan your lesson well, if you know what you're trying to convey to your children, they will listen to you. It's not as difficult as that. So even in the online classes, it is almost the same. The virtual classes is slightly difficult because we are not tech natives, I would say. We are tech migrants. And we are learning, with the hands-on training now, we are learning. So some of our children definitely are better equipped than us. But at the same time, I would say, that difference between the other side of the table, the teachers will be able to handle them and handle them well with grace. And they'll be able to add on to the knowledge bank that the children already have.
So the planning and informing our student beforehand, it actually gives us the clear picture and somehow smoothing the communication in the online classroom. So I hope that viewers, you will get all the answers which we are discussing over here. And if in case any more questions you have, you can put it in the comment section. We would love to answer that. And thank you so much, ma'am, for giving us such wonderful information today on effective communication. And definitely our viewers will get benefited.
Thank you so much, Sudhir.
You're welcome, ma'am. And the 7
Thank you so much, Sudhir. And just for the end of it, one little tip.
Definitely.
Okay, so great communication, it always begins with connection. And communication, as Dan Oswald says, it must be hot, honest, open, and two-way. And only when you're speaking, one has to be very, very mindful. So whatever you're trying to convey, if you can speak, if you're speaking to others, be mindful that whatever you're speaking, you need to identify. Is it true? The first and the foremost question. Second, is it necessary to be conveyed? And third, again, very, very pertinent, is it kind? So if you're conveying all these 3 things, if you have this in mind, you will never go wrong. And as the little ones, remember that nursery rhyme which we've all learned? It says, Jab bolo, has kar bolo. Baat mein mishri si gholo. Jab bolo, soch samajh kar bolo. Kabhi na baate, rach bolo. Do you remember that? जब बोलो तुम झुक कर बोलो, सोच समझ कर रुक कर बोलो, अपने मन की बातें खोलो, जब बोलो तुम हंस कर बोलो.
Wow, these are some pretty good lines. मैंने सच में नहीं सुनी है ये, but I would definitely love to hear that.
We've learned it as a nursery rhyme when we were growing up.
Wow. And कहीं ना कहीं ये सारी की सारी चीजें जो हमने अभी 7 C's जो आज थ्योरी में पढ़ रहे हैं, हम ये नर्सरी राइम में ही हमें कहीं ना कहीं बता दिया गया है.
Thank you, Sudhir.
You're welcome, ma'am. And बहुत ही अच्छा सेशन था. Thank you so much for having us. Good day, everyone. Have a great day. Stay safe. Stay home. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.